Ballin', ba-ballin', ba-ba-ba-ba-ballin', ba-ballin'.
And hello, people. We are back. This is ChicagolandSportsRadio.com, and you're listening to the Wolves of Ball Street. And we want to give a great welcome to our buddy Daniel Poneman, special guest in here right now. And we actually didn't know he had been to the studio before, so everyone's been to the Illinois Media School at some point. Yeah.
I'm a vet. This is my studio. You don't even know.
In Chicago, I always say it's the smallest big city. It always seems to work like that. So once again, this is the Wolves of Ball Street, and we got our guest Daniel Poneman. I know you guys are wondering a little bit about him, so we're going to get into that right now. Very interesting history. I like to call him my basketball recruiting guru, buddy, because he's all over the place. Every time I see this guy at a high school basketball game, you can only pin him down for a minute or two before he's somewhere else. So I'm going to get into that really quickly. Will Smith's going to chill out a little bit, and we are going to give a round welcome to Daniel. So Daniel, welcome to the show, man. Thank you so much for coming down.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so thrilled to be here. It's a beautiful day in Chicago.
Actually, it's great weather, and it was funny because we thought we were gonna have you over the phone. You text me, you're like, "Yo, I'm about to be there in like 10 minutes." I'm like, "Man, the world of sports moves fast."
I know. And that's one thing with Chicago is I live in New York now, and in New York you cannot get anywhere in under 30 minutes. But in Chicago, if you got a car, everything's 10 minutes away.
All you got to do is just hop on the road, hop on Lakeshore or wherever you are, and you're gone. So for those that don't know, Daniel is, I don't even know what to call you. You're an entrepreneur. You're a self-made scout, or what do you call yourself these days?
I don't know what I call myself either. It depends on who I'm talking to.
Change up the title.
Different hats for different folks,
What would you call yourself today?
Today, for the purpose of this show,
Yeah.
I'll say I'm a recruiting aficionado.
Okay, we'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay, and it's funny now. So we know you started because I showed the guys your website, of course, SwagAir, which originally
Nice
hosted.
website, by the way.
Oh, great.
Very nice website.
Great
Thank you,
design.
fellas.
And it hosts some video from a much younger Daniel talking to Anthony Davis, which my buddies were like, "Man, this guy must be huge." Because look, they're like the same height.
Yeah, I was like, man, this dude's tall. Then he's like,
I was the same height as Anthony in the video.
Back then,
do you know what? I was probably standing on a chair or something.
Oh,
so there's no way that Anthony was. So when I interviewed Anthony in that video, he was like 6'6", 6 foot. Now he's 6'11".
Yeah, now
but
he's even
I'm
bigger.
every bit of 5'10",
Yeah,
6 foot and some Tims. But
So now to explain to people, how exactly did you get into the world of recruiting? Because people now know you now as sort of a matchmaker of sorts, or at least you can help kids who are looking for scholarships. How did you get into this business?
okay, well, for the purpose of fitting the story in before the commercial break comes, I'll make it short.
Yeah.
So I went to Evanston High School.
Okay.
I played ball growing up. So the height I am now, 5'10", I was that height when I was 14 years old. So I was good at ball up until I kind of stopped growing.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I was a good player. I played hard, but I couldn't dribble and I couldn't shoot. So those are problems usually when you have basketball dreams. So at that point, I started a high school basketball website my freshman year at Evanston High School. It was called IllinoisHSBasketball.com, and I would blog about all the top players in the state. I would rank players. I would go to games and I would use Facebook and AOL Instant Messenger. So you guys don't even know about AOL Instant Messenger. You're too young. But I would use AIM and get people's screen names and chat with them and do interviews for my website. So I was getting all the exclusive interviews from all the kids, and the college coaches were wondering, who is this Daniel Poneman guy who knows all the kids we're trying to recruit? Little did they know I was 15 years old. And from there, coaches started reaching out to me via email and via text and call to ask me questions about recruits, and I started my own college coach consulting service. So ever since then, I've been a professional college basketball scout.
Now, my favorite part of this was right after high school for you, or this was in high school?
This was
right?
in high school.
So you did all this while still being a normal student and everything on top.
I hated science, right? So I would be
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I would be in physics
I did.
class. I had my little BlackBerry. I would sit in the back of the class and have a little BlackBerry. I could type with my phone under the desk. I didn't have to look at. So I would text college coaches all through physics class.
Dude,
and coaches would be calling
that's
me.
tight.
And I'd be like, Miss Castellino, I got to go to the bathroom. And I'd be there calling the coaches from University of Illinois in the bathroom, telling them about players. So I did it all through high school. And after high school, I had the option of going to college, but my business was kind of rolling, and I decided to run with it. So I'm 24 now. I've been doing this full time now for 7 years.
So many layers of that story I like. First, the entrepreneur aspect
Dude, I
of
love
just
the whole
starting it
thing.
up. is great. But my favorite
The
part,
science part.
breaking news on the Wolves of Ball Street, where college coaches will text you during science class.
That was my best
to get
part.
the scoop.
I love that part.
That was hilarious. Okay.
But I say science because specifically that was my least favorite class. So in the beginning of the class, I would think, what coaches do I need to talk to? And I would text like 11 of them or 12 of them in the very beginning of class, so I could have all the conversations going throughout class and keep me occupied for the full 45-minute period.
To make sure you'd have more than one thing to keep you occupied.
That's awesome.
Okay, now I want to get into a discussion a little bit about the SwagAir Showcase. I had the wonderful time helping out last year, and your mother, who, just quick shout out to Mrs. Poneman, wonderful lady, and remembered who I was after literally a year of not seeing her any contact. But you have a showcase every year, is it now?
Yeah, every year,
event? Now, going to discuss a little bit about what is that event and what went into that idea.
So, throughout my years involved in college basketball recruiting, I helped a lot of guys get to some high-level schools, get to the NBA even, guys like Anthony Davis. But I had a realization a few years back that, I might get credit for helping guys like Anthony Davis, but Anthony would be in the NBA right now with or without me.
Right, regardless.
I did not make him that tall. I could not make him jump any higher. All I could do was make highlight videos and tell people about him.
Yeah.
But what I did realize is that there are kids all across the city that all I had to do was make one call to a junior college or a Division III school, and it could change the course of their life. It could go from them not knowing what they were going to do after high school to having a college scholarship. So I decided to design this one-day showcase, the SwagAir Showcase, where we have it every year after the season's done. Where we take all the best players in the city who don't have college scholarships yet, put them in a gym, have them scrimmage in front of college coaches so the coaches can offer them scholarships. So, when it started, we probably had a few scholarship offers come out of it, and it's grown every year. And now, 6 years later, we had 135 players. We had 74 college coaches, and I would say over half the kids there got scholarship offers. So if you do the math, that's 70 kids, 70 scholarship offers. That's millions of dollars of scholarship money all thrown out in one day, all here on the west side of Chicago at Westinghouse High School.
Wow.
That's excellent. So it's a great event, has a good cause, and pretty much I think all sides sort of win from it too, because mutually, even guys who maybe won't get an offer will get some looks for some coaches.
Yeah, or they'll find out that that they're just not good enough.
Which honestly is something that, as sad as it is, needs to happen. I guess.
Hey, if you play 2 games in front of 74 college coaches and not a single one of them wants to offer you a scholarship,
that's pretty bad.
Maybe you should just go through the regular application process like the rest of us.
And just try to get in.
So you're saying there's a chance.
How about you play in the SwagAir Showcase next year and we find out?
There you go. I'll come play. That sounds like fun. I'm not good at basketball, but I'll come play.
Now, how long has the SwagAir Showcase actually existed now? Was this the second year of it?
No. So actually, I started in 2009.
Okay.
Did it twice. We took a break for a couple of years, and now this is the 3rd year in a row we've done it at Westinghouse.
Okay.
So I think it's like the 6th year, but the 5th showcase, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And does it look like moving forward, Westinghouse will probably be the location?
Oh, well, here's the problem, guys. I think we might have outgrown Westinghouse. So this year we had 74 college coaches. Last year we had like 50. So at this rate, next year we're going to have like 100. And I don't know if I can put coaches hang seats from the ceiling, like where I'm going to put them all. But I love Westinghouse. It's perfect because it's right there on the west side of the city. All the kids from Marshall, Crane, North Lawndale, Whitney Young, they can all just take the CTA over. It's great, but at a certain point, I'm looking at maybe UIC for next year.
Ooh, that would be nice. Some big things in store. It's funny because if you outgrow Westinghouse, I love it from the standpoint where I know we'll see some big name coaches there. Because, people know you have the inside lead on a lot of guys in the Chicago area. But what I will miss is, I got to say, Westinghouse, I think the fact that you allow the parents and the families to come and watch the scrimmages, too, really adds to the atmosphere. Yeah. Because something about seeing a guy, I think, on the court during one of the scrimmages, and his mom is yelling to him on the court, trying to relay to him that his high school coach was there and was telling him to pick up full court. So I got a guy's mom going, hey, pick up full court, pick up full court.
But I feel like that's good, too, because now you got your family there. It's not so much pressure. You still like, there's my friend, there's my family.
And so you
can play normally.
Exactly.
So it's a really cool thing.
It brings some pressure down for the athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, that's funny because actually this year, Coach Curry, the coach at Westinghouse, he suggested, because we had so many kids and so many coaches this year, to not let the families in. First, to just put the players in there, put the coaches in there, let it be an intimate recruiting process. But the person who shut that down, my mother. My mother got there, and she told Coach Curry, she said, I'm not working. I'm not helping if you don't let the moms watch their kids. So
Right.
so I went out there and slanked back out there and said, all right, families, you're all welcome.
After a brief delay. But I really think it's good because it also allows the coaches to see sort of how the players interact in terms of like family life or just around people that aren't necessarily involved in the world of recruiting as much.
Right.
And I think that's a big part of the process right now.
Totally.
But I got to ask you, so more on the basketball side of things, strictly on the court. We don't want to, of course, shout out anyone. Everyone who's come through the SwagAir Showcase has been excellent. Has there been any players over the years that have really stuck in your head from the way they performed at the actual scrimmages themselves?
Well, again, the stories that stick out to me are never the ones of the kids who play the best. It's always the stories of the kids who played up to their greatest potential and earned their first scholarship offer that day. Like, for instance, there was a couple years ago, I was filming a documentary about Orr Academy High School on the west side.
Okay.
And I went out to Nazareth High School for a playoff game to see Orr play. And there was a kid named Mike Brooks who played on Nazareth. And he was a solid, 6'1" guard. Not that athletic, couldn't really shoot, but he played really hard. So I invited him to the showcase after the game. And, he came out there with his dad and played really hard. And he came away with his first and only scholarship offer to Calumet College in St. Joe's. Now he played for them this year. He's averaged 13 points a game, and he's about to score at the beginning of next year his 1,000th career point. So he's had like one of the best careers of anyone in that school's history, and he's only a sophomore. And like those are the stories that stick out, those true success stories. A really cool thing for me that happened this year was DeMarco Nash was there. He's a kid who went to Lincoln Park 7 years ago, played in my very first showcase, graduated college, and now he was back there as a college coach at Robert Morris recruiting players
that's
to
awesome.
come play for him.
That's dope.
So you really saw him full circle, literally.
Full circle, yeah.
So that's interesting that you said that because that was going to be my next question. So for you, the rewarding parts really are when you sort of help that guy who you feel like it might not have happened without you rather than a guy like an Anthony Davis where it's a big name.
Totally. I mean, the guys like Anthony Davis or Jabari Parker or Jaleel Okafor, like my affiliation with them is maybe what gives me the credibility to be able to do things like this, right? People know, oh, that's the guy. Oh, I saw his interview with Anthony Davis, so he must know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, those guys, I'm happy I got to be a part of their story, but they'd be exactly where they are if I had never been born. But the most rewarding part is definitely those guys who get their, one and only scholarship offers, or they come in with none and come out with 4 like that. There's nothing like that feeling of a mother thanking me because her son gets to go to college now. Having said that, it is nice when the guys that play in the showcase end up, I was watching the NCAA tournament this year, and there was, I think, like 5 or 6 guys in the tournament who were SwagAir showcases alums.
Nice.
And it was nice sitting with my roommates getting to brag, like, yeah, he played in my showcase.
I was going to ask, in the national title game itself, did you have any guys, do you know, who came through?
Who played in the title game
Was,
this year?
It was Nova
Villanova.
and UNC.
Yeah.
No, none of those guys needed the SwagAir showcase. I mean, the guys from the SwagAir showcase who were in the tournament were guys like Quentin Chivas from 16-seeded Hampton and Tevin King from South Dakota State.
Ooh,
like
that's
those are the guys who guys who played big roles on teams that might not have the Cinderella type teams.
Okay, that's more fun. And we do have Jalen Brunson, the one Illinois connect, but another guy who definitely didn't need the SwagAir showcase.
He had had a few scholarship offers already by the end of his senior year. I think he was just busy playing the McDonald's All-American game.
In the Georgia Brand Classic.
He missed out.
Well, and I do actually have some more specific, current, up-to-date high school basketball stuff I want to ask you about. But we do have a commercial break we want to get to. So once again, this is the Wolves of Ball Street on Chicagoland Sports Radio. And we're going to be right back with Daniel Poneman right after the break.
Sports Update.